something that's showing up for me right now that's kind of layering on and becoming pretty profound is when I first started on my journey, my first stop was Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of his week-long retreats. And in his meditations that he trains for, one of the biggest elements is not just imagining a state of being, but taking your body to that place of state of being, of whether it's joy, peace, whatever. The whole idea is that you create the feeling in your body before you ever actually have the experience. And so when you create the feeling in your body, then the idea is that you draw that experience to you. There was that on my first stop, and then right now I've kind of been exploring hypnotherapy. And the interesting thing about hypnotherapy, at least the way I'm learning it, not the traditional like stage type hypnotherapy, but the idea that you plant expectations in the person's unconscious mind to have an experience in the future that they can change, that they can adopt the behaviors that they want. Just planting these little expectations in the back of their mind, allowing the unconscious to do the work that sometimes our conscious mind can't do, because we get too caught up in our thoughts and we get sidetracked and we lose our focus. And so we plant that in the unconscious mind so it can grow from there. And then the third part of that is I've been reading the Celestine Prophecy series, and I'm currently on the third book, that's The Secret of Shambhala, and they are talking about setting a prayer field. But the interesting thing about the prayer field is the way they phrase it is that it's creating a state of expectation within yourself. And I think sometimes where we get a little misguided when we talk about manifesting, it's not even necessarily misguided. I think sometimes our focus becomes a little too materialistic. But when we're looking at the idea of creating that sense of expectation and the idea that we want to manifest something, we're looking at the tangible things and we're focusing on those. And what's coming up for me with The Secret of Shambhala is that it is, you can use your energy that way and focus it on the material things that you want to cultivate. But it's almost more impactful to have the expectation that I can heal, I can have the insights, I can have the synchronicities to lead me where I want to go. That those things are going to actually happen in your life, that you're going to have the experience, that you're going to have the healing, that you're going to have the insight, that you're going to know the right thing to say, that you're going to be whole. When those expectations are turned toward your actual experience and not the external tangibles, that's what creates the transformation of being. When we do it the other way around and we're having the expectation that, oh yes, I'll get the job, oh yes, my offer on the house will come through, that expectation still is placing our dependency on an external circumstance. Whereas if we can turn that expectancy into our internal experience, that yes, I'm going to feel peaceful regardless of the outcome because I know the next thing will come up for me. The whole idea of setting this expectation or this prayer field, and even, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but he tells a story about meeting with a Native American, and they need to go pray for, he goes with a Native American friend to pray for rain, and the Native American just kind of takes a few moments and he's done, and he's like, well, what did you do? How did you pray? And essentially what it boiled down to was the Native American said the way to pray is to bring up the feeling as though it had already happened. He said, I could smell the rain, I could see it hitting the dust, and the whole experience of having the rain and feeling the gratitude for the rain. And that's why gratitude, living in a state of gratitude, is so important, is because it's the expectation that we are abundant, that we have that experience, that we're living in a state of being whole, of being complete, of being abundant. I guess essentially why I wanted to share this is because it's popping up in these different, it's all the same thing popping up in different, not even necessarily in different language, from very different places, whether it's the way Dr. Joe Dispenza approaches it with meditation and dropping into that place of already having it, of being whole, of having the vision already fulfilled, or the secret of Shambhala, or any of that. It's all the same. It is where we expect to be ourselves. We can do it in the more typical manifesting way of expecting the external thing to come true. But when we change that state for ourselves and our expectation of ourselves, it lends itself to us experiencing the transformation and having that as our own experience instead of being dependent on something outside of us. Maybe something to explore if you're on your own journey, playing with that a little bit and seeing what it feels like. What does that expectation feel like when you can anchor it in yourself for your own personal experience, not for something outside of yourself? I'd like to know if you try it and you have some good luck with it. I'd like to know what your experience is. Take care.